top quality materials and many of the tools and hardware you need to get the job done. At Yendel's, they take pride in supplying their customers with new and innovative products. Yendel's experience in truss design, manufacturing, and component materials is second to none. 834 North Magnolia Avenue in Ocala, 732-3000. Stop by to experience the difference. Veterans Helping Veterans USA. Call 352-433-2320. We help veterans and their families with limited financial assistance, counseling, employment referrals, and a food and clothing bank. You can help in making a huge difference in the veterans' lives we serve by donating food, clothing, household items, or direct financial assistance. All donations are tax deductible. Veterans Helping Veterans USA. 352-433-2320. Thank you for your attention, and God bless America.
Howdy, folks. RL here for Dairy Queen again to tell you about what's hot and what's not. Dairy Queen has some of the best char-grilled chicken breasts on earth, as well as their chicken breast salad. And the burgers are exceptional, cooked on a real grill for the best flavor and less fat. And for dessert, blizzards are unequaled. Personally, banana split is my all-time favorite. Dairy Queen Silver Springs, where we always treat you like kings and queens.
Good credits, bad credits. It's none of our business because we're not an auto dealer. We're not a bank. We're not your mother. We're OcalaForSale.com. Marion County's marketplace for cars, trucks, and SUVs. We've got thousands of sellers standing by to take your call. No middleman. But hurry, don't walk, don't run. Just sit down and log on to OcalaForSale.com. Prices and inventory change daily. Offer does not include dealer upcharge. Undercutting, rust-proofing, factory surcharge, or delivery fee. See website for details.
Ugh, what wrong? Ugh, need wood for fire. Ugh, I go get. Ugh, I got wood for fire. Ugh, what takes so long? Had to use restroom. Someone not refill toilet paper. Ugh, my bad. You wash hands? Ugh, of course. Ugh, what caveman you take me for?
You know, Dan, people who save money by switching to Mike Scott Plumbing sure are happy.
Well, Brittany, how happy are they?
Happier than a caveman with indoor plumbing.
Yep. Get happy. Get Mike Scott Plumbing. If water runs through it, we do it. 237-2888.
Get it for less at the DIY Home Center outlet. Get top quality real wood cabinets the same or less than the big box stores are selling the cheap stuff. And that's not all. Drywall screws big box stores are $6.47 a pound. At DIY, only $4.99. Plus, DIY has the largest selection of mobile home parts and accessories anywhere. From carpet to doors, get the DIY supplies you need for less. The DIY Home Center outlet. We are your building material closeout store. 2191 Northwest 10th Street, just 2 miles east of I-75.
Hey there, Congresswoman Kat Kamak here, your conservative voice in our nation's capital. I'm so proud to be an advocate for the over 65,000 veterans here in North Central Florida. The new Ocala VA clinic is now open, providing important primary care and specialty services. If you're a veteran in the Ocala area, thank you for your service. Feel free to get in touch with our team by visiting us online at camac.house.gov. I'm Kat Kamak, and it is my honor to serve you.
This ad is paid for by official funds authorized by the U.S. House of Representatives.
The Golden Spoon Diner and Seafood Restaurant, a true New York-style diner in Ocala. Try our breakfast special of 2 eggs served with home fries or hash browns and toast for just $4.49. We have an all-you-can-eat catfish special daily for $14.99, and Thursday through Sunday we have prime rib. Happy hour for food starts at 2 p.m. The Golden Spoon Diner and Seafood Restaurant is located at 5400 Southwest College Road in the Heathbrook Commons Plaza. Open daily from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. We will see you soon.
Now you've done it. Have you lost your mind? He's back. And you're listening again. A legend in his own mind. Don't believe me? Just ask him. Here's Tom Schmitz live on WOCA. The Source.
Welcome back to Ocala Talk. Coming up at 9 o'clock, it's Vets Helping Vets. Veterans News. But right now, you know, if you want to see a snapshot of the problem in Washington, and you want to see a brief picture of why they get nothing done in Washington, you don't have to look any farther than yesterday. Yesterday, the Senate voted Wednesday. It was a late night. The Senate voted against advancing a bill that would have made abortion rights federal law. It lost in the Senate 51-49 with all Republicans voting for it, against it. One Democrat voting against it, and 48 Democrats and one independent voting for it. It was when they brought it up on the floor. Chuck Schumer said, we know it's going to lose, but we're going to vote on it just so you see where everybody stands. Hey, newsflash there, Schumer. We knew where the Republicans were going to vote. We knew where the Democrats were going to vote. The only one we didn't know was whether Joe Manchin would toe the party line or whether he'd do what most West Virginians want him to do and vote with the Republicans. Well, Joe voted with the Republicans. They took 4 hours of debate after writing the bill. First off, you got to write the bill. That takes hours. Then they did 4 hours of debate for a bill that was ultimately defeated, that they knew wasn't going to win in the first place. They knew they didn't have the votes for in the first place. They wasted almost 8 hours of the taxpayers' dollars on something that they knew damn well wasn't going to pass anyway. That's a snapshot of what's wrong in Washington. And Chuck Schumer goes, well, we did it so you would know exactly which politicians were for abortion and which politicians were against the rights of women to choose. Newsflash there, Schumer, we already knew that. He wasted 8 hours of the taxpayers' dollars on something that, unless you're under the age of 1, so you don't have the cognitive ability to understand, you probably knew the outcome. Chuck Schumer did. He said before he even called it for a vote on the floor, we're not going to win this, but we're going to be able to point. We're going to use. Basically, what Chuck Schumer said is we're creating a situation where Democrats can now have some sort of campaign thing they can put when they're running against that Republican that voted against it. So I want to put this in perspective so you know what's happening. He's spending your taxpayers' dollars to make sure he has fodder for campaigns. Now, I don't care where you come down on the discussion of are you for abortion or not for abortion. Has nothing to do with what I'm talking about right now. It is what they were voting on yesterday that shows you how they waste your taxpayer dollars. And you don't think it adds up? Tom, it's just a drop in the bucket, the $40 billion they're giving to Ukraine. Yeah, but they do this hundreds of times a session where they talk and do frivolous things that they know aren't going to go anywhere. Yesterday, I was talking to a listener who called in and goes, let me get this right about. He texted my phone and says, call me. It's a friend of mine. I called him. He goes, let me get this right. The payout on this fire fee is going to be about $900. I go, yeah. He goes, well, that ain't that much. I go, but don't you have 10 rental properties? Don't you have 10 properties that you don't rent that you use as housing for employees and guests in town for your business that you pay lights on? He goes, yeah. I go, well, each one of those residents that you paid a fire fee for, you get a refund for. He goes, oh, well, that's almost $10,000. I go, yeah. Well, that's what Congress does. Tom, they didn't waste but about $1 million yesterday. But when they do it hundreds of times every session, they waste 100, 150 million, 200 million, who knows? Over a 4-year session, they may waste $2-3 billion in frivolous activities that they already knew the outcome to. But by doing that, now abortion lobbyists will give those Democrats some more campaign funds. Women's right to choose lobbyists will give them more campaign funds. If you don't think everything in Washington is motivated by the dollar, if you think they really care one way or another about whether abortion is legal or not illegal, if you think they care one way or another whether Ukraine survives or doesn't survive, if you think they care one way or another whether we drive over a bridge and it collapses with us on it or not, if it's not making them money, they don't care. And that's who we elected to go there and do our bidding. And by the way, I'm just pointing out Chuck Schumer did it this time. Bill Frist, when he was in charge of the Senate and everything, he did the same thing. Both parties will do this. It just so happens the Democrats have been in charge recently, and they're doing it now. They all do frivolous things that they know the outcome to and spend your dollars when they already know it's going to pass or fail, and they already know the outcome. It's almost some of these issues that Congress debates and they vote on. It's like professional wrestling. They knew the outcome before they walked on the floor. It's amazing to me the money they waste. In not just in things that you can see that you can, well, they're wasting money on this program. Just the stuff that are nickel and dime to us, but it's not to the taxpayer because it's millions of dollars they're wasting. They do it on a daily basis. And it was no more clear than this vote yesterday that we knew wasn't going to pass. Chuck Schumer said as much a week leading up to it, ever since the leaked dossier of the Supreme Court's supposed report on they're going to kill Roe versus Wade. They've talked about they're going to pass a national law that supports abortion. And Chuck Schumer goes, well, we're not going to be able to pass it. We know it won't pass, but we're going to bring it up so you know exactly who voted against women's rights. That's not because he wanted to do something good for the people. That's so he knows, hey, here's your campaign fodder, folks. And we as Americans a lot of times miss that that's what they're doing. That's the only thing they're doing. They're not doing the bidding we voted for them to do to help us. They get to Washington. And by the way, there are people that go to Washington with very good intent. And then they get caught up. And, somebody sent me a meme the other day, and I hate to disagree with former President Donald Trump, but I will. Washington is not a swamp. A swamp is a great ecosystem that has life and rejuvenation. Washington is a sewer. Don't degrade how great a swamp is by comparing it to a sewer. Because that's what Washington is. A sewer. And it consumes people. Some people are smart enough to go up there and see what they're writing on the wall and get out. But a lot of people get caught up, and then 40 years later they're uber rich, and they forget what they went to Washington for. It's just yesterday's vote. No matter how you come down on the issue of abortion, yesterday's vote proved they spent 8 hours on something they knew the outcome to before they ever started the 8 hours. And yet they spent your money anyway. It gets sometimes just frustrating to even think that people don't see how just transparent that really is. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Vets News next, hour number 2. You're listening to 1370 AM, 96.3 FM. This is WOCA, The Source.
Broadcasting from the Ocala International Airport, this is WOCA AM, W242CA FM, Ocala, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
USA Radio News with Tim Berg.
A Senate vote is possible today on emergency aid for Ukraine. The House approved a $40 billion package on Tuesday ahead of next week's deadline. President Biden says that's when money runs out to continue sending shipments to help Ukraine fight off Russia. And Pentagon Press Secretary John Kirby tells MSNBC the United States is in this for the long haul.
We believe that the funds in this supplemental, not just from a military perspective, but humanitarian assistance, economic assistance, that'll get us probably largely through the rest of this year. A lot of it will depend really on the Ukrainians and their consumption rate.
In what sounds like a broken record, drivers are again waking up to a new record high price for gas. AAA updating the national average. It's up another penny to $4.41 a gallon, with California closing in on $6. USA Radio News.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-444-9336. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Providers help thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-444-9336. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-444-9336. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-444-9336. 800-444-9336.
The House Energy and Commerce Committee said on Wednesday it's scheduling a May 20.
It's time for Farm and Ranch headlines on the Southeast AgNet. I'm Tyron Spearman reporting. Peanut growers are urged to be wary of early season disease pressure. Clinton Thompson has the story.
Dry conditions across the southeast does not guarantee a lack of disease pressure in newly planted peanuts. That's why growers should be diligent in their fungicide applications to make sure their crop is fully protected, says Wilson Faircloth, agronomic service representative with Syngenta.
I think it's too early to troubleshoot exactly what this season's going to be like, but I still think growers need to prepare for a typical disease season where we see white mold and leaf spot, and only if it's really dry through the month of June can we really begin to think of how this may affect and change our disease management.
Faircloth implores producers to apply their fungicides early in the season.
A lot of people are planting or just gotten planting. The first thing they can do is put a good in-furrow fungicide in with their seed. So a lot of them are using vellum, which has an nematicide in it, which they need, but a lot of people add a Bound to that. From our perspective in Syngenta, Bound is a very good broad spectrum fungicide you can put in the furrow and get your plants off to a good start, get a good stand. It won't make bad seed good, but it will make good seed better. So that's a good way to start right now is thinking about what you're putting in the ground and treating it well, because it's true, what you put in is what you get out.
For more information, see southeastagnet.com. For Southeast AgNet, I'm Clint Thompson.
Previsil fungicide is to Pentfields what vowels are to the English language. With it, disease control isn't compulsed.
It couldn't be any clearer. Provosol fungicide is to peanut fields what vowels are to the English language. Without it, disease control isn't complete. Provosol fungicide from BASF is the missing piece you need to finish off disease. Always read and follow label directions.
I'm Tyron Spearman for Southeast AgNet.
April showers bring May